Hi, Emma Ritter. Welcome to Sports Spectrum. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm great. It's good to see you. Good to talk to you. We love featuring softball here on Sports Spectrum, and this has been quite the season for you and for Virginia Tech. And there's still a lot more games to play, hopefully, and a lot more left to try and have success for. But I thought it would be a really great way to start would be to just ask you what a game day is like when you're getting ready for. And obviously, you're a college student as well, so there's probably a lot to that question. But what is a game day like for you as you prepare for getting ready to kind of do battle on the field?
Well, it kind of just depends whether we're home or away. There's a little bit of a difference, but we played a lot of home games this year, so I guess we'll kind of just look more into that because it's a little bit more scheduled. But we usually wake up and we'll have breakfast around 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then if we have a later game, we'll go get some swings in, get a little bit more physically and mentally prepared for the game. And then we'll do some film and we'll we have a joke before every game, so it's like the joke of the day, and we spin for it every day, and it kind of just gets us loose, gets us laughing before the game, lets us have a little bit more fun. So I think that's a new addition this year, so that's been a lot of fun,
Who
a lot
comes
of
up with the jokes?
interest. It's different every game day. Like, we have this wheel that we spin, and it's like we're spinning around waiting for whoever gets the joke, and then so yeah, it's a lot of fun. And then people are really creative. They come up with some pretty crazy ideas. A lot of it consists of photoshopping our coaches' faces onto different situations. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of fun. And then we also have this Mario backpack that we have to carry around before games. So we spin the wheel for whoever has to carry the Mario backpack around. In the beginning of the season, it was like, if we keep doing well, we're going to keep the backpack. So it stayed all season so far. So that's been pretty good.
Yeah, keep the
But
backpack going, right?
yeah, yeah,
So when you
exactly.
say Mario, do you mean like Super Mario Brothers? Is that what you mean?
Mhm.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it's like a children's Super Mario backpack that we keep all our stuff in, and we just have, like, one person on the team is carrying it around all the year, but or every it changes every game, but
See, when you do that, and I think, man, that is just wonderful as your coach and as your team sort of has the success that they're having on the field, but the culture and the bond and the environment that you're trying to
Mhm.
create away from the field is also extremely vital. And it's obviously something that all the successful teams have is a really wonderful culture. Tell me about this
Yeah.
team this year, the culture, and why it's been such a special group for you to be a part of.
Yeah, for sure. I know Coach Pete hit on it a little bit in his last interview that he did. But we just have a really special team this year, I think. We all bond really well. We had some of the seniors talk at a meeting last week, and it was just really moving to hear, how much they love the sport and how much this team has meant to them. And I think being able to see from their perspective, it being their last year, and how much softball has really touched their lives and how much, we just love being with each other. It kind of opened your eyes to a new perspective. Like, this is only 4 years here, and I think that's been a huge emphasis for everybody. Like, let's just play like it could be our last game. And I think that's brought a lot more love for each other and for the sport itself, and has made us all a lot more passionate in playing and being able to go out there and get it done.
So as we record this, you're the number two team in the country. So obviously a lot of success this year. You're hitting over 400. For you, what's been your favorite moment thus far? We hope when I ask you this, maybe in July, we have the ultimate favorite moment for you guys. But for now, as we record this,
Mhm.
what's been your favorite moment for you this year with the team?
Definitely our Virginia series was my favorite moment personally, just because, I mean, it's Virginia, like, they're not ranked, but they're very scrappy. They're a good team. And so we won the first game, lost the second game, and we were losing the third game. And that was like probably one of the biggest crowds we've ever played in front of, like, especially at Tech Softball Park. Like, there was so many fans there. It was really cool to see how many people came out and supported. Um, but we were down by one, and Meredith hit a home run and tied it up. And then we had bases loaded, or there was a runner on second, and Matt came up and scored her. And it was just a really cool moment just to see how much, like, it doesn't matter how far behind we are, like, we're going to come back and get it done. So that was really cool. And it was just fun to see, like, Max is senior this year, and she always comes in clutch. So it was really fun to see how excited everybody got, and just like those moments, kind of, you remember that softball's supposed to be fun, and it is fun. And so yeah, it made it all worth it for
Are you
sure
able
after
to
winning
do
that
that? I mean,
game.
obviously winning is fun, right, Emma? But
Yeah,
are you able to
yeah.
remind yourself when you're having a bad at bat or you lose a game that, hey, it's still about having fun here. Yes, you want to take it seriously.
Yeah.
and you want to do the best that you can, but let's just remember that this is a game here and we want to have some
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. No, and that's the most important thing. And I think that's kind of the difference between this year and last year also is learning to have fun, and it is a lot of fun. So we don't stress enough, and I feel like from the outside perspective, like you might not understand how much of a grind it is, and it is a grind, but it is all worth it in the end because game days are, some of the most fun we're ever going to have as a team and as young athletes. So it's all worth it in the end, no matter how hard you have to work. It makes it worth it to go out there and just be with your friends and playing the sport that you grew up loving.
So Emma, you say it's a grind, and obviously I've talked to
Mhm.
many athletes on this show, many coaches who talk about that same grind. We just see the games, right? We see a 40-6 record as of this taping on May 6th, and we see that 46
Mhm.
games, but there's so much more that goes into not just the team grinding to get to that spot, but for yourself and all of the grinding, if you will, keep using that word that you've gone through for many years. Can you kind of take us behind the curtain a little bit on what that entails when you say it's a grind? Like, what is that like, even in the off season? Because there is no off season. You're
Mhm.
preparing for the season. Take us into what you mean when you say the grind that people don't know about.
Yeah. So, I mean, in the off season, we're practicing a lot. It's not as intense as regular season just because we're not playing that many games like our fall season. We have like, 8 games maybe. And um, so we're kind of just seeing where we stand as a team and getting things all worked out. But Coach Pete makes sure he gives us a lot of time in the fall to, be college students, to get our work done, to have fun. So that's really cool of him. And our spring season, we lift a lot. We lift 4 days a week, and then we practice, we'll practice like 4 days a week, and then we're traveling and playing the other two. Or wait, yeah, and then we'll get one day off. So it's not even like it's crazy amount. Like it is a lot, but you get so used to it, I think, that it kind of becomes like your normal routine. So I can't even really put it in words, but it's just kind of about taking it one day at a time and just, knowing that you have a set schedule every day and then staying consistent with that schedule and just putting the work in every day. And yeah.
Emma Ritter is our guest here on Sports Spectrum. We are the intersection of sports and faith. And so I thought it would be great to have you on. I saw you on a video recently talking about your faith, and that intrigued me. And I said, you know what? Virginia Tech's playing so well. Let's have Emma on and let's have her share her faith story here on the show, which is what we love to do. Tell us about that faith that you have and the importance of the Lord in your life.
Yeah. So obviously, the Lord has been honestly one of the only reasons I think I could be able to play softball. My brother wrestled in college, and he had a really close friend who passed away in a car accident. And he was a big Christian, and his name was Eli. And Eli helped my brother like through his walk of faith. And then just seeing how Eli changed my brother's life kind of motivated me, and was like, oh, like, I wonder what all this is about. And like we grew up in a Christian household, but after digging a little bit deeper and talking with my brother about it, and just like with my parents, it kind of opened my eyes to a whole new life outside of softball. And it just like gives you so much more meaning in life. And I think just being able to have something to lean on and rely on kind of opened your eyes to this new perspective. And it just gives you something bigger to play for, because if you're just playing for wins and losses and stats all the time, it gets exhausting and it gets, you know, hard. And I think that's why mental health is such an issue with college athletes, is because they're trying to put all this pressure on themselves to perform and to do well. And it gets tiring. And then when you can kind of take some of that pressure off yourself and know that, we're not playing for our own glory, but we're playing to glorify the God who gave us these gifts. It kind of allows us to play a little bit more free and have a little more fun and just go out there and play for the Lord.
Did you have a different perspective before this in terms of how you went about your softball? You know, you hear a lot about identity and playing for something bigger than yourself. That's what you said just now. What was Emma Ritter like as a softball player, let's say in high school, before you
Yeah.
got to Virginia Tech? What was the difference that you're describing?
So I think in high school there's a lot less failure because you're not playing as great of teams. It's not as high of competition. So I think in high school, I kind of just would go out and play and like not really think too much about it. And like I was Christian in high school, but I didn't allow it to take over my life. Like I didn't allow it to be what defined me. I kind of just let softball define me. And I knew that God had given me like an athletic ability, but I think I would use it more to glorify myself than to glorify him. So I think after last year and I didn't have a great season, I failed a lot and I struggled a lot, like mentally and physically. And so coming into this year, I was like, you know what, I just need to stop trying to impress other people and stop trying to glorify those around me. And like, I just need to use the gifts God has given me to go out there and play hard. And if that means having a good season, that means having a good season. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And, sometimes God has a different plan for our lives. As athletes, we always want to be like, oh, I want to have a great year. I want to have a great year. But, that's not always his plan. But
Well, you're
he
still having a
teaches me
great
well.
year. Yeah, and you're still having a great year, and yet you're getting out 6 out of 10 times, right? And that's
Yeah,
considered,
exactly.
a really great year. So there has to be a mindset of peace and, I don't know, a foundation that's something bigger than just, because it's easy
Yeah.
if you're getting out 6 out of 10 times. I mean, it's easy to put your head down and say, "What are you doing? Why am I not hitting 900?" Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I know you're not kidding. And I think like something God's been really putting on my heart recently because, it is such an up and down season and you go through slumps. But I was reading in Second Corinthians and the story about how God put a thorn in his flesh and Paul was like, you know, please like take this pain away from me. He said he prayed 3 times for God to take his pain away from him. And God was like, my grace is sufficient. So in weakness, like he makes his strength more perfect. So I think it's important when we go through times of weakness to be able to be like, all right, this might be a learning opportunity for me. It's not just all about the highs, the highs, the highs. Like God makes things perfect in our weaknesses just as much as our strengths. So
Yeah, that's
I
really
think it's
good.
just important to remember
Yeah,
that.
it's very important. Let me ask you, what is that like during a season? Spiritual growth, right? We talked about the grind of playing and practicing and all the games that you have, and obviously a lot of success this year. But spiritual growth is important for certainly for you. It sounds like how do you maintain that side of things, right? And maybe
Yeah.
discipleship or Bible studies or whatever that looks like. What
Mhm.
is that for you?
I was just talking about this in FCA because, I mean, honestly, it is hard sometimes, like being so busy and having a schedule. It can be difficult, setting a time aside for Jesus, but it's so important to do that. But it is still something I struggle with being able to, always keep him first in my life. Like I feel like, softball, softball, softball. Sometimes it does creep in there a little bit. So that's something I'm working on still. But I honestly think my faith grows stronger during the season just because I need to rely on God. Like sometimes when we're not in softball season, life just becomes so like day in, day out, like nothing crazy, no crazy ups or down. But then in softball, it's like you have a great game and then you have a bad game. So it's like you need something there that's your medium that you can rely on. Like I said before, it's just, when things don't go great or when things are going really well, it's just important to keep your eyes on what's important.
And you're still a student, by the way. Like you're taking
Yeah.
classes and tests and exams and essays and all these other things and balancing all of that. What is that like, in and out of season? Because I'm sure in season, that's another, I would say, very important part of this whole
Yeah.
journey too, right, Emma?
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. It's I don't know, like you learn how to like figure it out, It like I said before, it's a grind, but you get like this schedule every day where you kind of things just start becoming routine and it gets a little easier. I know freshman year it's definitely an adjustment, but once you start getting into things but that doesn't mean it's not stressful, but it's stressful for everybody. So, you learn to figure it out and you have like a teammate of people that are always there. We have our coaches and our staff that's always there to like help us in whatever way we need. So that's a huge help
Was that the biggest
for
adjustment for
sure.
you? And I ask because my daughter is a senior in high school. She's not going to
Hmm.
play sports in college, but she's going to go to college
Yeah.
and have to adjust to life as a college, student. So for
Hmm.
you, if you're talking to my daughter, right, and
Yeah.
she's 17, almost 18, and getting ready to go to college in the fall, what would you say to her or anybody that's asking for advice on just the adjustment from high school to college?
Yeah. I think it would just to be about time management is the biggest thing, because college can be a lot of fun and there's a lot of new things. You're living by yourself, your parents aren't there. And I think just being able to discipline yourself outside of what your parents are saying, and then be able to, set specific times of the day to do specific things and then stick to that. Um, yeah, I think time management is the biggest thing because it's so hard, but it's so important. And it's going to be a big skill like after college too. So I think just establishing early that, you set certain times of the day to do certain things and then just sticking to that helps for now and then also in the future.
Part of that time management involves FCA, it sounds like, because you mentioned FCA. Tell me about the
Mhm.
importance of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. We love FCA. They're a great partner with us here at
Yeah.
Sports Spectrum. Tell us about FCA and its importance for you.
Yeah. FCA is awesome. It's been a lot of fun just to meet other athletes and to fellowship with other athletes outside of softball. It's been really amazing to meet some of the leaders and some of the staff members there. It's just opened my eyes to a whole new network of people just to grow my faith off of and bounce ideas off of. And, we go in right now, we met last Monday, and it's just really cool to hear how, even though people play different sports, they still go through the same things. And I think it's eye opening to see how Jesus is really working in our lives because, we're all so different, but it sometimes all just seems like he's got us. It's really cool to hear different stories. And I talked about this before also because our strength coach, I didn't know she was a Christian until she got talking to me about FCA, and it's just opened up a lot of doors to hear about other people's stories. She was vulnerable with me and told her how she got saved, and it's really cool to
Hmm.
see your staff members as, you know, more than just your strength coach or more than just your coaches, but to hear about their spiritual life. I feel like I said before, it just helps you realize that God's got a plan for everybody's life. We sit here sometimes and we're like, what's your plan for my life, God? But it's like everybody around you is asking the same question, like, how is God working in their life? And it is cool to see how, He's got a specific plan for everybody and how He's so personalized in His love and He is just attacking everybody so personally. And I think just being able to open that door to allow people to come to me and talk about their faith and allow me to go to other people and talk about their faith. It's just allowed me to see that more clearly for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because obviously, in any faith, even the
Mhm.
Christian faith, our job is not to force anything on anyone, obviously, ever.
Yeah.
We're here to love and to serve and to be the best teammates and the best people that we can be. But through that, I have to imagine conversations come up where you're able to talk to people about the hope that you have.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think being an athlete, God gives us a different platform. We have a different group of people that we can reach, and that's really cool. But there's been a lot of different times, when people we can just even with our roommates, when we'll get together and we'll just talk about things, and it's really cool just to see growth in all of us, when we come together and we can be vulnerable and talk about the things that we struggle with and the things that we, love and just go to church together and just love on each other and pray with each other. It's different and it's really special. And I think there's a big thing in hearing about other people's stories. I think that is personally for me one of the ways that I grow closer to God is by hearing how other people got saved. And like I said before with our strength coach, hearing her story just it was really special to me. And I think that just gave me a whole new level of respect for her. Not that I didn't respect her before, she's awesome, but it's just really cool to hear what she had to say. But yeah, and it's so cool how, we're all starting at different spots. No walk is the same. So, it's just being able to look at other people and see where they're at, put yourself in their shoes and just, see how the Lord's working in their life. It's really special.
Yeah, that's really wonderful to hear. As we wind down, I'm just going to ask you a couple of different questions that kind of are here, there, and everywhere, if you will. And the first is,
Mhm.
recently I was watching my daughter play one of her softball games, and they were facing a pitcher who had this tremendous rise ball.
Mhm.
And it comes out of her hand and it looks like a strike and then boom, goes right
Yep.
up. And it's, probably in high school, it was, I don't know, 60 to 63
Mhm.
maybe, which is still pretty fast.
Yeah.
And you're facing a little bit faster. Maybe it's 65, maybe it's 70, maybe it's even more than that. How the heck do you lay off a rise ball, Emma Ritter, when you see that ball coming and then it just zips up high? What is, I just was curious in talking to
Yeah.
somebody who's at a very elite level. How do you manage that when you're facing a pitcher who's known maybe for a rise ball?
Mhm. I think it definitely helps having Keely, Rochard, and Emma Lemley as, pitchers on our team. They throw to us in practice, and when I first got here, I'd never seen a rise ball like that before, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like it
Yeah.
would be starting here, and I'm swinging, and it's over my head. Coach Pete's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know," but I honestly think that it's just about seeing it up, and then if you see it up, you know it's going to keep going up. So, and then if you see it down, it's just about like Coach Pete always preaches, swinging over top of it. So if you know it's rising, just don't swing where you think it's going to be, or don't swing where it is. Swing where you think it's going to be.
Hmm.
So, but laying off of it, I'm still trying to perfect that one. So I don't know if I have that many tips for you, but
Yeah.
yeah, it is challenging. I think just seeing it, just being able to like get more experience with it and just keep, you know, understanding how like the trends of rise balls work and where they're gonna go and just, keep practicing, I
How about a
guess is the
change
advice
up
I
when they're
have.
throwing the change? That's like when I watch especially the younger kids in high school, they're so dead set on a fastball and you're trying to have your timing
Yeah,
and then they drop, a 45-mile-an-hour change
yeah,
up and you're 1,000, yards ahead of it. And it's like,
mm,
okay, I got no chance on this one. How have you managed to
yeah.
kind of see the ball that way and work through change ups and a different type of speeds?
Yeah. So usually like you sit for one speed unless you have two strikes. So if I don't have two strikes, then I'm just not even going to swing at the changeup, which is sometimes hard because sometimes, like you said, you get so excited for a fastball and then throw your changeup and it looks so good, but then you swing and you're a million years early. But um, so I think just being able to recognize it out of the hand and then take it until you have two strikes, and then if you have two strikes, you're kind of just battling for anything. So if she throws you a changeup, you're prepared. If she throws you an outside pitch, you're prepared. You're just trying to get the ball in play, but like I said with the rise ball, same thing. I think just being able to recognize it early and just kind of practice it. Everything takes practice. So just being able to kind of work it into your at bats and learn how to take it, but then also learn how to hit it is the biggest thing. And we do that a lot of practice. We work on taking certain pitches, but then we also learn how to hit them hard. Because that's Coach Pete's biggest thing is just putting balls in play hard. He's not necessarily worried about getting hits all the time. He just wants us to be making hard contact.
There's parallels there, it sounds like, to your
Mhm.
spiritual journey too, right? Like the practice and the discipline. I mean, there's
Yeah.
probably a lot of parallels, I would think, for
Oh
your
yeah,
for
for
your
sure.
journey as a softball player and also as a disciple, as a follower of Christ.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's cool. Just, there is things in the Bible talking about athletes and, athletes running to win a race. And like, this is all life is. It's just a race, and,
Mhm.
we're just running it and we're running it. And everybody thinks that, they want to win this like big worldly prize. But I feel like, in the end, it's none of that really matters. So it's just kind of about going out there and doing what we do. Like God gives everybody specific gifts to glorify Him. So whatever that may be, just going out and doing that to our best abilities. And then when life is over, then you know what we did here, as long as we did it to glorify God, I guess that's all that matters.
That's right. And we're excited to watch you guys in the next few weeks as you prepare for hopefully a long, deep run all the way to the Women's College World Series. We'll have to see how it plays out. But a number two ranking, and it looks like you guys are in a great position to make a deep run. And this will be a lot of fun watching you and Virginia Tech the rest of this year, Emma Ritter. Thanks for joining us here on Sports Spectrum. All the best to you. And hopefully we'll have you back on again sometime. Thanks for joining
Oh,
us.
awesome. Thank you so much.